This episode is brought to you by smzh, your independent go-to partner in all matters relating to finance, insurance, real estate, tax and law for both private and corporate clients. To find out more, go to smzh.ch. smzh, tailor-made, holistic for you.
I think it's very efficient for the client because, the thing is that in a normal way today, you have 3 or 4 different angles of relationship or advisory. So you have maybe your tax advisor, your lawyer, you have as well your banker or your insurance advisor. So, and I think it's very hard as a client to balance that out by yourself. And therefore, we believe that we are on the right way to help our clients to have a cockpit through everything, to control by themselves what they want to do and what they don't want to do.
Welcome to the Swisspreneur Show, a podcast about startup stories and learnings from experienced entrepreneurs. If you enjoy listening to our show, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a rating. And now, here's your host, Sylvan.
Gzim, very well welcome to the Swisspreneur Show. It's a pleasure to have you as a guest today.
Good morning, Sylvan. It's a pleasure to be here. I feel really honored after, as I heard, an amazing week you had to be here.
Fantastic. You're the CEO and partner at smzh, I say it in Swiss German so people can relate to it, an independent financial advisory company headquartered here in Zurich in Switzerland, but with branches all over Switzerland. Originally, you started working in banking for over 10 years, a career path that is deeply rooted in the Swiss tradition. Was it the reliability that initially attracted you to this sector, or what motivated you to go into banking?
So it's a very good question. I think that the reliability was a very important matter, but as well, I had the opportunity to start my career during the big financial crisis. So I was very fascinated out of the job. So you had to work with fantastic entrepreneurs. You had to be able to think and to act in different matters, in different levels. And that was the key reason why I tried my best to get into this industry.
But then you also decided to leave banking eventually after 10 years, after a decade of working there. Why was it the right timing to leave banking? And I guess also a stable and a very good career in that industry.
Yeah, I think there are different reasons. So now, looking back, it was for sure the right decision, but for in that time, it was a little bit difficult and hard because you mentioned it right. I had a great position with a great team, very well paid. So indeed, but I had always, let's say, the pressure, the entrepreneurial spirit to do more. So I was very, very happy and lucky that I had the honor to work with amazing people, especially at Credit Suisse and then later at Julius Baer. So I think for my personal development, it was the right time to do something different. It was the right time to try to convert all the things I learned or have seen, or to try to make things a little bit better as people around me.
I like that. And then entrepreneurship was the path that you chose. You sort of joined smzh that was already there for about 13 years as an external CEO, at least it seems so on paper. What attracted you to join this company?
So, after the experience I had, after all the people I met, after all the things I learned, it was for me maybe the right next step to be entrepreneurially involved. I had the possibility to have a participation and a stake on it. So the real entrepreneurship was very important to me. I knew the industry a little bit. I knew the things around. And I think it was a very good match for me.
So the next level, so to speak.
So to speak, yes, but in paper, it seems like the next level. Honestly, we started with 3 people or 4 people, so it was quite hard. So I left a bank where everything is managed and organized, and with a great structure, great products, and great solutions. And then you are there, and then you need to take care about ordering paper and however. So it was a little bit hard way to learn it, but it was the right one.
So it also feels now, as you describe it, also a bit like a step back, or maybe 2 steps back before then moving forward. That's something that many people are not willing to do. And how did you manage to do so? To say, hey, I start with a very small team. I have to do many things myself that the bank did for me before that. Was that also a bit a difficult start, maybe?
You're very experienced. It's the reason why you really understand it right. Yeah, my son was born a few months before, so I had 2 children. I was a little bit before 30. Yeah, on paper, it was not only one step back. There were, I think, people who didn't know me that much. They thought, okay, he could be a little bit crazy. Huh? So, yeah, really.
Which is not a bad thing per se.
Definitely. Now I'm proud. All those people say we always knew.
Of course.
That you will do it. But in general, it was more than one step back. It was emotionally very, very hard to go through that because once in theoretics, what you can expect, which kind of things are waiting for you. But when you are in, I remember, especially the first year, it felt like there were 5 years. So I can remember every day because it's very hard until you get the things done. But there's a big but is when I left the bank or the banks or I met former colleagues, then you see that you don't want to end up on that way, especially in my case. So you were part of a very interesting system, well paid, which makes you be in a comfort zone that as long as you are there, makes it much more difficult to leave. And that was the challenge. It was really very challenging, and it was an amazing experience. You can read books, hundreds of them, how it is to be in such a situation. But when you go through it, it will help you. It will help you to realize as well what are the benefits from a large company. It makes you to see that not everything that you thought that is wrong was wrong in the past. So from a corporate structure, from processes, however, but it gives you as well the right feeling that now those guys who are involved with you, we work all strong together, and you can see the people in the mirror who are guilty or not for success or being not successful.
Absolutely. So you did leave that golden cage of the corporate world. At the same time, in retrospect, it all seems clear. It was the right decision. It worked out. You're successful with your own company now. But when you were back in that moment, have you had any regrets about that decision? Because, you had newborns, you had a family to feed. That was a big step and a big risk to take. Did you ever, in that very moment, regret that you left the corporate world or were more unhappy than before?
I don't think regret, but you are in a situation where you always try to find out, was it the right decision? Was it the right timing? Right. Was it the right way? I didn't regret that I left the bank, but sometimes, in difficult times, where in challenging times, you think about it, okay, was it the right way? What could I do better? But that helps me now, this experience, to be very challenging with myself, to be very reflective, to challenge my decisions, my results, and I think it was sometimes hard, but I was very, very lucky and happy that my family, and especially my wife, supported me a lot. She always said it's the right decision. If you feel it's the right decision, and And it made me definitely better. It made me to be much more responsible. I think that's I think the most important part. So when I speak to people or talk to my colleagues, and I say there are maybe 2 or 3 very important moments in life, especially for me, when you have a newborn, so you are responsible for a family.
Of course.
Who didn't have the possibility to choose
Yeah.
if
Exactly.
if you should leave or not the job or however, which makes you really responsible. But as well, then the first time when you have someone on the someone employed. So it's very similar, the feeling of responsibility that you are able to take responsibility not only for yourself, but for your clients and especially for your employees and colleagues.
I like that. Very well said. Let's also talk about your company, smzh. You offer a wide range of services from financial planning to investments, insurances, real estate, mortgages, and even legal and tax advice. Can you walk us through these different offerings and how you actually cater to both private individuals, but also corporates as clients?
Sure. I think it's much easier to try to understand the way where we came from. So I had the honor to be responsible for ultra high net worth individuals, which means we were very familiar with the family office service. And our aim within smzh is to be a family office light, which means to have the expertise and the support for all our clients in those different matters as a sparring partner and as their as the protector of their interests against the financial institutions. I think that is very important to understand the way where we came from. And out of the needs of our clients, we started then to be as well responsible for corporates, because they said, now we are very happy with the service we receive or we see from a private perspective, but with corporate things, we still need to go through the old way. And they pushed us to be with an offering for corporate clients, which definitely makes sense.
Because many of them probably have companies themselves, right? That's just the logical next step.
You're right, and I think you know that matter much better than I do. But in an entrepreneurial environment with entrepreneurs, so you need always to find the balance between your private needs, private wealth, and as well the health of the company. So.
Right, absolutely. And when we focus on the private clients that you work with, how do you tailor your approach to the different stages of life? Because I know you work with very young professionals, but also with retirees, so to speak, with people who don't work anymore. How do you plan your offerings across this timeline?
I think the most important thing there is that we try to understand in which part of his own life cycle the client is now. Yeah. So when you compare the business to the, let's say, classic private banking business, there are not so many differences because the needs or the complexity of a client, they are, especially in Switzerland, given high. Yeah. What does it mean? When you're 18, you need to fill out your tax statement. You need to have a health insurance. After 25, you will have an access to a pension fund. Once when you are getting married or however, you create a family, the complexity is growing. Once you want to buy a house, then you need a mortgage in the most of the cases. So the complexity is very, very comparable to a very wealthy client. That means that you need to try to understand in which situation is the client right now, which kind of needs does he really have, which kind of needs does he thinks that he has, and we try to help out with at least a tailor-made approach that we will be able to show the clients what we did in similar situation with other people, and that helps it. So we try to understand what are the needs, what is the part of the life cycle or the magic moment he is in right now, and try to fulfill and to deliver the right solutions and the right partners out of it.
And there, if you look at the offering, it's so broad, right? Some companies or platforms only offer one specific piece. You offer the whole bandwidth. How can you make sure that you offer also good quality with all the different services that you bring to the client? Because that seems sometimes a big challenge on its own.
I think our aim to ourselves is to be a specialized generalist. So what does it mean? It means that we need to have an understanding for the client situation. This is, I think, the most important matter. We have tax experts within our company. We have investment experts, real estate experts. So, but that's not a big difference between maybe another company. So once we decided to go the holistic approach, it means that we need to have a very deep understanding and a big knowledge about the situation the client is in now. That means all our people, they need to be taught and coached through those 8 specific items. But as well, I think thanks to technical development, we have a very good system who is supporting our people through it. So that helps. I think today know-how and expertise is much easier accessible as 10 or 12 or 15 years ago. And that helps us to deliver the best possible know-how. And our aim is not to be in every specific thing the best expert. We as well work with other experts in specific things, but we want to be the best understanding partner for the client who realizes what it means. I could give you an example. Now we had a large family. They did a plan how to, let's say, to restructure the real estate portfolio and to split it through the family. So, then we need tax experts in different cantons, however, but in the groundwork we did with the client, because we had enough knowledge about the situation and the way how it goes to structure it out, and then just to take the experts in a certain way where they can start at 80 or 90% and not at 0%.
Sounds way more efficient if you can do it that way. Absolutely.
I think it's very efficient for the client because, the thing is that in a normal way today, you have 3 or 4 different angles of relationship or advisory. So you have maybe your tax advisor, your lawyer, you have as well your banker or your insurance advisor. So and I think it's very hard as a client to balance that out by yourself, because maybe if the insurance is doing only the advice on insurance things, there is a connex to banking things and the other way around. And therefore, we believe that we are on the right way to help our clients to have a cockpit through everything, to keep or to stay in the driving seat and to control by themselves what they want to do and what they don't want to do.
And in that sense, we hear efficiency is one part, maybe also control over the holistic approach. What are other benefits that client gets on working with you compared to a big bank or another big company that offers similar but probably not the fully fledged services as you do?
I think less complexities is very important. Yeah. Personal relationship. So we ensure that every client has his personal advisor, his direct access, and especially I think that the biggest advantage of our clients is that we have a quite big number of transactions, clients, and relationships already. So they can access into a base of knowledge where they can profit and participate on know-how we created the past 20 years. So they don't need to start at zero. They get a better access, a faster access. And I think that's the big difference between being in a bank where you have to call first the contact center, then wait until they call you back and on.
I see that point. There's also the other extreme. I myself am a personal finance enthusiast. I love everything about investments and all of that stuff. So why is it also better to work with you compared to doing most of the topics, at least the ones that you can handle yourself?
I think that the most important part of your question was the last one. When you work with us, you can decide by your own what you still want to do by your own. And you have to challenge yourself if you think that you're on the right path or if you are really on the right path. And I'm pretty sure there are as well things that you don't like to do or maybe are not that aware off.
Yeah.
And this is the let's say the big advantage you have. So you can challenge, or if you are on the right path and you don't lose control, so you're still in the driving seat, and you will have a better overview, and you will at least will have a few optimizations. In costs or in services. Our aim is to have the let's say the same service for a better price, or especially in insurance matters, or for the same price, a better solution or more service.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, you also need to pay salaries, you need to pay bills. How do you as SMZ make money? What is your business model behind all of this?
Very good question. So we have 3 different, let's say, flows of our revenues. I think almost, especially with the, let's say, private individual part, our clients are able to decide if they rather pay our service as an advisory fee or accept that we are getting paid by our partners in a distribution fee. It means that they can challenge and see, okay, if I receive for the same price a better solution, they fully agree that we could get an fee through our partners. That's one wing. And the second part, especially in the key clients or corporate world, there are success fees. So we do a structuring and have a project or a transaction fee. And the third one is an advisory fee where people have something like I think service which they receive very broad and high service quality, broad range of services with an amount they have to pay.
I think number 2 and number 3 make a lot of sense. You sign up for a service and then you pay for it, or you pay in case of success. With the first one, I imagine there could sometimes also be transparency issues or maybe a little conflict of interest. How do you deal with that if you get paid by the products that you sell to also make sure that they are in the best interest of the client?
Very good question. I think there we had to learn a lot of mistakes of our competitors. Yeah. What does it mean? We have with all our service providers the same conditions. So that means in our case and in our way, it's not important if we take A or B or C, especially for our advisors, there is no difference. So I think that's a very important matter to disclose, because the good thing is we don't need to create a need. You have, for example, a pension fund or a mortgage or however, so we don't need to create a need. And then it makes it, I think, much easier for the client to accept that we have a commission, because we tested that in the past. And usually if we as well split the commission, the conditions are not much better for the client. So we try to ensure that we have all the same conditions with our partners, that for us it doesn't make a difference if you choose A or B, just to have the best solution for our clients. And I think the clients feel that, because as we try to manage the client through the life cycles, you see differences within the partners, banks, insurance companies, asset managers. They are sometimes in a certain way very specialized on one point, and then they are better and they offer better rates or better conditions, but in another part they are not anymore, or in another age, and that's what we try to manage for our clients. And it's not a big difference for us. I think important to us is that through our advice they realize that they can do something better, and it's up to them to choose with which partner they feel more comfortable or not.
And I also like that you play the long-term game in that sense, right? You need the trust of the client, otherwise they will stop working with you, and you want to work for the rest of their lives with them. We
are not a one-night stand, so we really try to be a long-term partnership. It's the only way how we can survive. You mentioned it completely right. So our only USP is the trust of our clients, and it's the most important thing we got. It's the same like when you are in businesses. So we have a triangle in meaning of the trust of our clients is essential, but as well the trust of our employees. So, and the combination of working a long-term partnership, of growing as well together, as developing and participating in a vice versa mode of the development of the client or the company. It's where I think what we want to stand for.
Definitely. Now we understand what you offer and also how you as a company make money. The next very important puzzle piece is, of course, the customer. You sponsor a variety of different events and brands, from the FC Aarau to Art on Ice. Why is this a good channel for you to acquire new customers?
I don't know if it is a good channel. Maybe there are better, but I think there is a very good connection through our values and things we mentioned before. So there are all partnerships with people we know. I think, especially, for example, with Art on Ice, Oli Höhner is a close friend of us. He's in our board and within FC Aarau. So I think the CEO, he was first a client, became a friend, and then a partner. And I think through all those partnerships, because we don't call it sponsorships, but partnerships, it's very important to me to mark out. In the beginning, there was a personal relationship. There were personal values. There were, an exchange of ideas and a strong belief that we can do together something more than divided. And out of that, we try to be active. We have around about 10,000 clients.
Wow.
Our plan is to increase up to 60,000, but if you read the newspaper and see that we are 10 million in Switzerland, so it's still nothing. But no, and then the partnerships, they help us to maybe to gain on contacts, on impressions, to create through emotions, to create relationships and to try to win new clients.
In the end, you probably generate leads from these engagements or partnerships. Do you have a specific example how that works? Like, do you have giveaway at the Art on Ice show where people can sign up, or how does that work? Do you have an example for us?
Yeah, I think so. There are more creative and more innovative things, and some there are less. But for especially in Art on Ice, we have there 3 different angles. One part is that we try to invite our partners to enjoy, or existing clients to enjoy the show, which gives us a unique possibility to spend a night or an evening with our clients and their families and to get to know each other better, and out of that to create maybe new possibilities, opportunities, how to strengthen the collaboration. That's one part. The second part is visibility. So people see our logo, our presence over there, and then out of that they realize what we do. And the third part is, for example, especially in Art on Ice, we have a very wide activational possibility where you can win, I think, a car or something like that. Nice. And people join that, and out of that we create a few leads.
Fantastic. And despite the personal relationships and the long-term partnerships, this of course also costs money, such a partnership. How do you then calculate the return on investment to say, yes, this is a great investment, we should continue or even expand it, or no, this didn't work as planned, we should probably stop doing that?
I think that the most important thing on that point is that you need to have there as well a long-term partnership. When we are aiming or looking to have a long-term partnership with our clients, then I think our partners are able to ask for the same thing. I think that's the first part. The second is we try to split such an engagement. So and to say, okay, how much is it maybe activation or client acquisition cost? How much is it a building of a reputation or strengthen the brand? And we go through that, but we always give at least 3 years to do the first check. And then, as I mentioned at the beginning, we try to reflect, to be critical on ourselves and ask ourselves first, did we have the possibility to do more? Or how can we enlarge the collaboration to achieve our targets? And now what we started now, because now we have a little bit more experience and let's say long-term partnerships, we include our partners in those processes much more. In the beginning, if you don't know each other, you have a partnership, and then you sign a contract, and then you pay a bill, and then you hope that everything goes round. But in such a stage as we are now, and I think the importance of the partnerships for us, but as well we have to be responsible because they count on us. It's very important that we have a common understanding of expectations, of goals, and try to include them in the activities we do.
Amazing. You mentioned customer acquisition costs. That's something that we often hear on the podcast from startups that we talk to. Can you share how much that you can or should be paying for a customer in your case, just out of curiosity?
I think the value of a customer within our company is priceless because it's unpayable, because he pays with the most important currency he has, with his trust. Okay. And I think therefore I'm not really able to answer on that matter, because it's really difficult. It depends on the stage. So I think that the answer, or the real answer, would be we do everything and we pay everything for it. So it means to us everything. So and when you do a little bit of research, you see that we take it in serious. So we do a lot for it, and we will invest much more. So unfortunately, it's not like we are not selling glasses that I could say to you, okay, we sell the glass for 5 francs and our customer acquisition cost is 3 francs. So unfortunately, it's not that easy, and it's a completely different calculation mode. So we will only be successful, especially financially, if you do a good job for a long time.
Fair. Also a very diplomatic answer, but the message is clear. The customers are worth a lot to you in that sense.
Not a lot, more or less everything.
Right. You also work on the content front, for example, with a partnership like us to produce content, but you also started your own podcast. Can you tell us a bit more how that fits into your broader customer acquisition strategy?
Yeah, I think we had the possibility to learn a lot and to see how good you are doing it. And as you mentioned, it through our partnership. So we, in the first part of our corporate development, we created, let's say, leads or contacts through emotions, through events, through sports, however. Be there, be a part of it, be visible. And now we are entering the next stage where we feel comfortable and able to create attraction through content, because we have a lot to tell, a lot to do. We have an amazing team, great experiences, and that's the next part. I think they will follow much more. So in different matters and different things, in all our thematic approach, where we want to show our expertise, to be visible and reachable. I think it's very important for a semi-professional client, as you could be. I call it semi-professional, please excuse, but to realize and to know what is in for me, what's the benefit, what's the thing I could get out of smzh where I can't do by myself, and therefore it's very, very important that we have the possibility to be visible and to show and to tell about what we are doing every day for our clients.
Nice. So the logical next step for you in that sense. You also talked about the team, the great team that you have. That's the last missing puzzle piece I want to talk to you about. You built also a strong team of not only team members, but also a strong team of advisors and leaders at smzh. What skills do you need in your management team to lead the company that you have today and want to build in the future?
I think the most important skill or skills are to be able to listen, to always have to have in mind that the client has to be the most important thing, that we create a value, right? Or an added value. The second or the second part is that you know our values, that they can transmit, and then the other very important thing is that you're able to develop yourself. I think it's very hard sometimes for myself as well, but I think we have a lot of challenges and we need to develop ourselves. So within a company like ours and like many others, it's impossible that someone 3 years later is doing the same things.
Yeah, you really have to grow in that
You
sense.
have to grow, you have to develop. And growing doesn't mean only in a position, but it means by personality, by things you do, the way how you treat the clients, the way how you speak, how you talk, how you feel. And I think this is a very, very important matter, that people are able to not get into a comfort zone. So I fight that from the beginning of never create such a comfort zone.
Nice. And what are the roles that you have in your management team? We know, again, the traditional startup perspective, right? There you usually have someone doing marketing, someone sales, someone product, someone engineering if you're running a software company, then everything else with like HR, finance, etc. Are you organized in a similar way, or how is your structure on the management level?
Very good question. The structure is developing as well. So today we have as well engineers, we have software developers, we have amazing teams, we call them expert councils in meaning of marketing, because I want to ensure, I try to learn out of mistakes from my time as well, but especially maybe from others, because it's very important that you learn out of your own mistakes, but it's very cheap to learn of mistakes from someone else. So I try to do both, less own mistakes and
ideally
learn, and learn from other ones. No, but for example, the whole client advisory, or we are I think a very client-focused organization. So everything what we do, every cent we spend, has to be somehow dedicated to make life of our clients better, or of our advisors better. So I think it's very important part. And out of there we have something like expert councils, where the front is there, IT is there, UX design, marketing, but that every part is involved, because I don't want to create island solutions. I was once I was quite unhappy because the first time in my life within our company, I heard, okay, I'm going to talk to HR, or no, marketing did that, or finance. And I was shocked. Honestly, I was really shocked. Because, hey, a few years ago, it was always there were always the same people. So there were no one else. And then I realized, okay, we have to let people much more participate. We have to involve. We have to much broader spread maybe vision and strategy, that everyone feels comfortable and sees the sense of what he's doing or she's doing. So
really a cross-team setup in that sense.
Cross-team setup. We are now around about 150 people. It's quite difficult. So we are always shaping maybe our structures. It is an evolution going through. I think at the end, it's quite important which kind of personalities we have. I don't think that functions or titles or however are that important, but I think we need to have the right people with the right mindset and with the right tools. And now we invest a lot on creating the right tools. So we have a new COO who is doing a great job. I have a very strong deputy. We have on front teams now big changes and developments, and then I'm pretty sure that we have the right people with the right mindset who have, the holistic approach is one part on the client business, but it's as well very important, the entrepreneurial spirit, to have that within the company. And I think it's very important that we give them space to develop that and to live it out and to show it every day.
Right. And talking about the right people, where do you find them? How do you recruit people to join your company?
I think that's a very good one. In the beginning, you think that you can hire people, and now you know that you have to create them, or to let them create you. No, I think for the time being, everyone is I think struggling or however to find people. My opinion is that it was always very hard to find good people.
Of course.
And especially to find the right people. I think all are good, but they have to be the right fit.
It has to match. Yeah.
It has to match. And there we have our strategy is that we try to manage colleagues, friends, partners to identify who could be a good fit, who could be a good match. That's one angle. And the other angle is that we need to create them. What does it mean? We need to be able to give a chance to someone to try as well as to test. So I think it's important. It's very hard, and it's very, I think it's sometimes not only easy, but we need to test in the way we have to be able to give to someone a chance who is maybe from the first perspective not really matching, but give him time and possibility to grow into that role. And this is very hard. It's very hard because you have to grow with new people, but I think in the same time you have to be able to develop your people in the right way, to ensure that after 2, 3, or 4 years they still have the same perspective for themselves, because I think it's crucial that they realize that if they achieve their own goals, they do a very important part of achieving our corporate goals. And I think it's very important that we are still able to take everyone very individually, that we don't do career plans for all the same, but everyone has to write his own history, and we need to be an important part in that. And that's the way how we try to develop existing people, but that's the way or the attitude how we try to acquire new people.
I like that part of matching the personal, the individual goals, where you want to go as an individual in life, and matching them with your company goals. If they are at least overlapping, if not identical, you can go very, very far and very long together, I think.
Fully agree. And from the beginning, there is one thing, theoretically spoken, it's very easy, but to go through that, it makes you to change as well. Yeah. Okay, so that means that once it's overlapping, you have to focus on the similar things. I think at least the values needs to be the same, but you have to leave the space for everyone that he can develop by itself. And as well, it's sometimes it's okay if someone leaves after 2 or 3 years and you had an amazing time, but it was the time and the thing that you developed together, and I think very important to me is that as well, if someone is leaving the company, that he could say, it was an amazing time and I developed as a person, as a professional, and then now I may be better or wider or wiser as I was before. And I think that's as well a corporate goal we have, because, I think as I left as well companies, so it's a normal part that someone is leaving as well. But what the question is, what do you leave within the company and what the company leaves in you?
I like that a lot, because often what I hear from companies where employees leave, they have a very bad experience. They say they don't want me there anymore. They are frustrated, and maybe even there's a lot of negative energy. And if you can leave with that, hey, I developed, we had a great time, maybe it's not the best fit anymore now. That's okay. We go separate ways, but you live on good terms. That's so valuable, because then these people go out there and talk well about you. And I think, especially in your business, I assume that's a very, very important part.
Yeah, I think there is a professional name of people who come back. I think the thing is, sometimes it's emotional, because it is emotional. Yeah. But I think after a certain time, then when you are honest, and then I think it's very important that we are honest, and that's how how I try to develop my management team, that we have to accept, and that we have to see that the good things we develop together, and not only fight about the things who wasn't there where we expected, maybe from both sides. And I think that's as well a development that you have to do as a personality, or as a manager, or as a leader, or however. Yeah. It's something that it's very, very important to be honest enough and to say, okay, maybe we tried everything that it's there, but it isn't there. Maybe it was about timing, about positioning, however, but we need to be able to accept that and to still keep the responsibility that we made people better, that we gave them maybe an opportunity or a chance to develop themselves, to get new skills and to be better for the next position.
Exactly. Now we talked a lot about the past and the present. I also, of course, want to talk about the future. What are your plans for the immediate next future, and how will you get from 10,000 to 60,000 clients?
So I was afraid that you will maybe be able to do the question. The thing is, now we recently opened new locations. So by the end of the year, we will have 13 offices in the German-speaking area with around about 400 working desks for potential employees. Yeah. So you see a very strong correlation between employees or advisors and potential new clients. So we invested already a lot into it. And now the chicken and egg story, we try to do it like that we go into a new place or we identify a city or a region where we want to be. We invest into beautiful offices. We try to get a few key people and then give them time, 12 up to 24 months, to fill it with the right employees and then with the right clients. So I think it's very important that you know that it will need time. Unfortunately, it's not that fast as we would like it to be, and it's not that easy. But now we have quite a good spirit to let new people be part, and that's a very important way. So I think the physical expansion now with the around about 400 working desks is finished. But we now invest at least the same amount is in the technical or platform development as we did on the physical development. So that are the really immediate growth plans where we feel able to achieve that. So now the question is, does it take 4, 5, 7 or only 3 years or 10 years? But
you'll find out.
Yeah, that's written on another chapter.
Exactly. All signs are on growth in that sense. Now, Gzim, to wrap up the conversation today, I also want to ask you some rapid fire questions. I give you either a short question or different options to choose from, and you have to answer in maximum 1 sentence. You ready?
I hope so.
Let's see. What does money mean to you?
Potential independence and power to change something.
Nice. What is your annual salary, including bonus?
I honestly don't know.
I don't believe that.
Really?
Okay.
Enough to live and to survive.
Yeah.
But less than a lot of colleagues.
Okay. A very diplomatic answer. What's the best financial advice that you have ever received?
Invest in real estate.
So that goes also with my next question. If you could only invest in one asset class for the next decade, would it also be real estate?
Yeah, so except my own companies, then it will definitely be real estate in Switzerland.
Why real estate compared to a ETF with the broad stock market? Doesn't that perform worse?
Not at all. No, it's really a different ball game. Yeah. Honestly, after being part of banks and with all the fancy stories and things, there are three very important matters with real estate in Switzerland. So a rental income is a cash flow. The second thing is you have a few leverage possibilities, which are quite common and good. And the third thing, and maybe the most important thing, is you see the value. And now you see Switzerland growing. You have a very stable environment. You have a very strong currency. So, yeah, I'm very, very happy with the performance. For sure, you can do ETFs and all other fancy things, but from my personal opinion is that real estate is I think is an interesting asset class.
What's the real estate return that you calculate with to make it a good investment? How many % per year?
Unlevered, 4%.
Yeah. Got it. And with leverage, you can go pretty high.
I don't know how high, but with leverage, you can be a little bit higher.
I see. Crypto is also a very hot topic these days. From your perspective, is crypto the future or is it a fraud?
I think it's definitely not a fraud, but I think it could be once a normal asset class as a few others. So I didn't see the revolution of all the capital markets as a lot of our common friends are telling, but definitely crypto is something very important that we need to have in mind, that show that is an important asset class. I think especially the blockchain and all the technologies behind will be an important part of our future.
Got it. And what's one startup company that you're currently excited about? Except your own, of course, your own companies.
An IT company who is doing something with political risks. That's the most recent one I heard, which I think is very, very interesting. No, but honestly, I was not that much involved in the past years in the startup business. I was much more involved in mature businesses who has to where they need a solution for the future, restructuring and however. So I see a lot of very interesting startup companies, but it wouldn't be fair to mark one out.
Fair enough. I have two last questions for you, just coming up right on the spot. If you had to rate your current stress and pressure level from 0, very relaxed, to 10, very, very stressed, what number would you choose? How stressed or how much pressure do you have right now?
I make a big difference between stress and pressure.
Okay.
I think that the pressure level is quite high,
Yep.
but I don't feel stressed, honestly.
Okay.
So I think that the pressure and let's say the engagement level is very, very high. It
So
could be
8,
very
9?
close to 10 maybe,
Okay. Yeah.
but I don't feel stressed at all.
Nice. That's a good position to be in. And what about your happiness? 0 to 10. How happy are you right now?
Very good question. I yesterday had quite a big discussion about someone that I told him that I'm very happy, but I'm not satisfied. So
also very important difference. Yeah.
Yeah, very important difference. Yeah. But then we came up into a Swiss compromise that it's maybe point of definition.
Fair.
But I'm honestly very, very happy. I have a great family. I am part of a great company. We are able to move on things, and I'm quite happy.
So number-wise, what would you choose?
When I say not 10, but maybe 8.
Nice. Perfect. These were all my questions for you today. Gzim, thank you so much for coming on the show. I wish you all the best, lots of success to get to these 60,000 customers. And I'm sure you're going to crush it. The question is just how fast.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here. And I just want to make a big compliment about your work and your own development. So I really have seen quite a lot of your work, and it's very impressive, and it's great to see how you develop on that way. So it was for me a pleasure to be here. And, I would maybe if I would have had the possibility, maybe I would have chosen German, but I didn't have the possibility to choose. So please excuse maybe sometimes any circumstances.
Well. You did well. And thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, you can support us by rating our show on Apple Podcasts. This way, we can reach an ever-growing number of aspiring entrepreneurs.